Good morning, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. If I had to go out on a limb, I would say that I probably don't look good and that the internet is freezing up, but it's being worked on. I'm going to be coming on and off a lot today. It's probably going to annoy people. This one, I'm going to stay on and do a show, or as much as one as I can if the internet holds out. I have started journaling. Can you talk more about how to start? Absolutely, I can. Absolutely, I can. The 6 weeks to six pack. Welcome. Struggles are real. Welcome, Zelda. Good to see you, Palake. Glad that you're here. 6 weeks to a six pack. Well, that's not a great name for a YouTube channel. If you actually show people how to get a six pack, and she does. The video is good today. I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully it's going to stay that way. We're going to see how it works. Here's the thing with journaling. I tell people the easiest start of journaling is this. When you get up in the morning, I don't care what you write. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with anything. Same as night. You just have to write. In the morning, you're trying to unload whatever you didn't process from the night before. So it could be Mambo, dog face, banana patch. It doesn't even have to make sense. You just have to get it out of your head. All right. At night, when you're going to lay down or sit down or whatever you're going to do before you go to bed, and you're going to start unloading the stuff you have in your dome, you can innocuously talk a little bit about your day. Hey, here's what happened. Okay. Especially if something during the day bummed you out, made you happy, affected you, made you laugh, whatever. Write it down. Almost a Dear Diary kind of thing. Then pick something from your past, because our past often is the parts of the onion that need things touched and looked at. You understand? To peel to that layer, right? So we try to go back in our past. Easy things that just get you talking and thinking without having to do a whole lot of anything. So I like to say, why don't you tell me every teacher's name you can remember from first grade going forward, and anything you can remember about them. I remember, right, Mrs. Gordon. I remember that she had 8 teeth in the front, or like 4 and 4. Almost like Mr. Ed, like just teeth right in the front and then nothing on the sides. And I remember being terrified of her. I could tell you details of this woman in excruciating detail. I could tell you everything about her. The punishments that she used to dole out in capital fashion, that you never get away with. Sit down, right? Put your head down, and your feet and knees must be together. And if you did not sit that way, she would come by and whack you with a little wooden stick about this long and make sure that your feet and knees were together. I watched her put Tabasco in a student's mouth and tie his mouth shut with a red bandana. I'm not kidding you for cursing. Now, I'm not advocating this. This is horrific, right? But I started writing about that. And the funniest things started to come out. And it started to then go off in directions that I had no idea it was going to take me in. And these silly things that I wrote about that had nothing to do with anything. One day, I wrote down something that wasn't that funny. And it was something that very, very distinctively was different than anything that had ever happened. I went, holy crap. And I started to look at that. And I started to journal about that. And I started to write about that. And I started to put together why I do things that cannot be explained. I started to understand why I do things other people don't do. I started to realize why I'm an idiot in so many ways, right? Very popular book written. And then an industry that sprung up out of this book, retreats and weekends and everything you could possibly imagine that came out of a book that was titled Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. The idea behind the book is pretty basic, right? We're very, very different creatures. And we communicate differently. We do everything differently, so much so that it's almost like you're taking, creatures that aren't even from the same planet. Of course, they can live together and they can live in harmony and love one another, cohabitate. But it's going to require some instruction, preferably instruction you pay us for, right? That's how books work. And I'm not mad at them, and they're a great concept. Today's today's thumbnail was a bit of a spin off of that, right? Women are from Venus, and Tommy Scoville is just an idiot. And it's fun to do a play on words for the book, but there's something about this that I really need to get out too, which is because once again I get emails from people who thank me profusely for all kinds of stuff that I don't do, right? For attributes that I don't have. I get thanks for all kinds of things I simply am not. And I want that everyone knows my past. If you're gonna come here and talk about what a great human being I am, do know that I am a convicted bank robber and a heroin addict and all of the things that make me me. It's not that I'm trying to talk you out of liking me. I just think you should know who you are liking, right? Through what happened with the Masterson trial, I have become a almost. It is assumed, I think, almost that I had an advocate of women for in all things, and I love that. I really do. I would love to be an advocate for women and a stand-up cat that people think of Tommy Scoville, and they think, that's a guy that's going to be good to women that you can trust, and I love that. I really do. It has enabled me to build friendships with the Jane Does and with some people that have just been life-changing people to know and relationships to have. And I'm honored to beat hell. However, make no mistake, I'm not married to my first wife, right? The reason I'm not married to my first wife, there's a reason I'm not married to my second wife, right? The truth of the matter is, I did show up. I did, six pack. I did, and you look great in green. You look fantastic in green. I showed up. Vape. I believe you. It's fantastic that you're sober and that you're stable. Vape. I couldn't be any more proud of you. So I treated women badly for a really, really long time. I want to clarify this. I've never hit a woman, never done anything like that. I've never been that guy. I was not raised that way. I believe that is a learned behavior, sadly. I think it's something you learn from your dad. I think that I honestly am not one that believes it spontaneously happens, or if it does, it is rare as hell. It is a learned behavior. It's something that somebody watches someone do and sadly imitates it. If the cycle is not broken. Thank the Lord, I watched my dad love my mom until he left the planet, and that's a blessing. And he was there. There were very few things, honestly. There are very few things growing up that could get me hit, like could get me that kind of discipline, corporal discipline. I could get disciplined, but to where I was going to get, a belt or something along those lines, there was very, very few things on earth that would allow that to happen, but if I were to put my hands on a girl, it was a guarantee. If I would have hit my sister or hit a girl at school or something like that, I was getting hit. There was no mistaking that because it was something that was just hammered home in my family that you didn't do that. Did not stop me, however, from cheating, I think, on everybody that I ever cared about. The caveat being, before getting sober, everybody I ever cared about, everybody I was ever married to, whether they were good people or bad people or anything else. In the process of peeling this onion, which took a long time, by the way, but the process of completely peeling this onion through journaling and through everything else, I realized that the fact that I cheated on a lot of people had nothing to do with the people that I was cheating on, sadly. Didn't matter whether they were great people. It didn't matter whether they were attractive people or they loved me more or less or any of that. It became one more validation in a person's life who didn't feel like they were normal or comfortable in their own skin. And a lot of addicts understand this concept, that feeling of you're just, I'm not like anybody else. I really am from a different planet than every other human being. And I feel like I'm going to explode at all times unless I do a little heroin, okay? Which seems to make me feel like I'm normal for a period of time. I found that things like one night stands could buy me about 6 or 7 days of feeling fairly normal, right? In the beginning of my life, the older you got, the less time something like that made you feel like there was something right with you. But you would justify in your head that I met this person, and in the course of 2.5 hours, this person was willing to engage with me in that fashion. I can't be as screwed up as I feel, right? That person didn't think so. That's a sickness, to be sure. And I spent a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of effort talking to a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists and people to try to figure out why the hell I lived the way that I did, because I didn't want to be a dude who thought, you know what, I should see how many people I can sleep with. That would be cool. I should try to see how many people that I can date for a really, really short period of time and not talk to again. This is one of the most terrifying things to have to say out loud. Honestly. Laura FM, good to see you, Laura. It's an honor. Um, this is a scary thing to have to say out loud, but this is the truth. Uh, I don't have an ex that I speak to. Or maybe I should rephrase that. I don't have an ex that will speak to me. And I'm not referring to ex-wives. I'm referring to exes. There is not a person I've dated from my past that I talk to in my life. Not I shouldn't. There's one. There's one. I shouldn't say that. There is one. But this is a person from like a million years ago. The Oddly enough, though, not anyone else. And I started thinking about that last night. And a lot of it is the fact that I was a dick, but um but some of it is the fact that I just was not any good at interpersonal relationships with members of the opposite sex. I was really, really bad at it. Um, but you know something, you could learn a tremendous number of life lessons from how not to live, right? By how I did everything with women for the first 46 years of my life. I honestly could write a book about how to treat women if you just do not do what I did for the first 46 years of my life. You'll do great. I suffered from male attention deficit disorder. Thank you so much. Why does that not go up? There we go. I'm fantastic at talking to people. I really am. I'm a great communicator. And this is something that traditionally women are excellent at as well. Uh and it you would think that it would make the ability to sit down for two people and to communicate and yeah, you would think I would be considerably better at it. And you know what? Maybe if I ever went down the road again, that I would be better at it. These days I communicate with a cat, and I've kind of honed it. I've honed it to a skill. And this cat and I do fantastic, and it seems to work well. But for a lot of years, the interpersonal relationships I had with women of the opposite sex, guys, it's really simple stuff. Women, it's really simple stuff, right? When you first meet somebody, there is a period of time that all of us go through and all of us can remember at least one or two good ones of. if not, every one of. But that period of time when you fall in love with somebody where you think about nothing but that person, right? They are all encompassing in every single thing in your life, right? While you're at work, you're thinking about them. When you're not at work, you're thinking about them. When you're on a date, you're thinking about them. The second the date's over, you're thinking about them. You're texting them, you're writing them. You're so damn in love. You're so damn sprung. It is all you can think about. There is nothing else on planet Earth that seems to be able to affect you in any way. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, Amy. It's hard for me to say anything this early in the morning that doesn't sound silly. Uh, but you understand the sadly, um, I read a question that stopped me in my tracks, and it's a question of the day. Fancy Nancy wrote, "Why do you think none of your exes will talk to you?" Well, the ones from way back when. It's because after you stop dating somebody who is a cheater and a liar, you find out who they are. While you're with somebody, your friends will not say to you, "Oh my God, you have no idea how bad Tommy was." I didn't want to tell you. I knew that you cared, so I didn't say anything. But now let me catalog what a dirtbag this dude really is. So very often, right after the relationships was over, they would hear all of the stuff about who I was or whatever. That's a big thing. Another one is if you say, I think I'll Google that guy. He was a lot of fun. Yeah, the breakup might have been bad, but I bet we could still be friends. And you find out that I went away for bank robbery, right? Or you catch one of the videos I've done where I talk about my life of crime or whatever. That's not, believe it or not, huge for people to make. It doesn't re-up your chances of ex-girlfriends calling you. That one, the crime thing, So that's part of it, to be sure. Um, also a good deal of it is that I've never had a relationship with somebody that lasted for more than a few minutes that didn't end up really over the top, right? Really over the top, if that makes sense. Um, and maybe sometimes that's just too much. It's Russ, I know how you feel. Russ says, I wish I took another path on my journey. I honestly think I wouldn't be alone now. Um, yeah, I think a lot of us feel exactly the same way. I think a lot of us feel the exact same way. And it's hard, isn't it? I lied to every single person that I was with up until 8 years ago. Every single one. I had to. My drug addiction forced that. My infidelity forced that. My lifestyles, my crime, everything that I did kind of forced that. Um, well, I mean, I chased a lot of dopamine. I skied professionally, and I did extreme skiing. I worked as a public speaker, right? Everything I did in life had an adrenaline component to it, to be sure. Um, However, I think also, for me, that, and I'm not even being funny, but there's also, I have a friend, I have an ex, I should say, who I parted on with good terms. I parted on excellent terms with this person. We didn't fight. Like we had a no lie adult style conversation where we just said, um, we're probably not great together. There's something a bit toxic about how we are. as a pair, we seem to get, we're both pretty good people, and everyone seems to like you, and everyone seems to like me. Together, I don't think we're fantastic. And we kind of giggled about it because we were pretty good friends. So we got a laugh out of the fact that that's who we were for whatever reason. Um, However, that person doesn't talk to me. Person will take my phone calls. That will, and we didn't leave on really bad terms. Um, so it's I don't know what it is. I also have had I've not had a relationship um, since being sober of sorts. I have. It's not exactly true. I've tried. I've tried to. Um, but uh, but yeah, it's even that situation. I can truthfully and honestly say that on a Friday everything was fantastic. A Friday at 5 o'clock, everything was fantastic. Saturday morning at 8 a.m. That person no longer wanted to speak to me. I'm almost magic. I have that effect on people. I am people. Um, I am not from Mars or apparently from any other place. I enjoy. I honestly, I think I have gotten to the point where um, I I kind of have scored in that uh, squirrel nut zipper. A fantastic companion. I mean, truthfully and honestly, with the exception of a couple of nighttime quirks that I think she'll outgrow, she is. After all, what do they do? Do they do cat ages the same way they do dog ages? No, they don't do like 7 years for a cat year. So I'm not exactly sure how a squirrel would be in people years, but she's not what you would call a full grown adult. Uh, she's only a little girl still. She's a couple years old. So hopefully she works on the nighttime stuff because she's a bit of a challenge. But other than that, she's about the perfect companion in that she talks nonstop, and I have a feeling that she's yelling at me the entire time. But since I honestly can't really understand her, and she's not 100% understanding me, the arguments don't seem to get very heated. Or we're both yelling "I love you" back and forth, and that's why it's working, and we just don't have a clue. But what I was trying to say earlier, before I got squirreled off, as I am wont to do on a regular basis, is that when we meet somebody and we get that feeling like they are every single thing in the entire world to you, you text them every 5 minutes, right? Hey, hon, want to see how you doing? Right? I'm at work, but I was thinking of you. Just punched in, was thinking of you. Right? Turning on the computer, was thinking of you. On the way home, you think, I'm going to grab one rose. Just one. I'm not rolling in dough, but just one flower. I'm going to buy one and bring it in because it'll be romantic, right? And then you would stop and go out of the way on the way home to stop by this one thing and get this one whatever that your mate loved. Right? Think of the stupid crap we do in the beginning because for the love of God, we want this person to believe that you're a catch. You want this person to believe that you're the kind of guy that would go a little bit out of their way to maybe get something that's just going to make that person happy. Or maybe you're the kind of guy who buy a single red rose just to be romantic, even if you aren't rolling in cash. Maybe you can't afford a dozen long stems, but you know what? You could show up with one red rose and just do that kind of romantic thing. And you were just going to be that guy, damn it. Why? Because you're selling yourself, right? You're trying to make that person love you because inside you're thinking this girl's perfect, right? Or you're thinking this guy's perfect or whatever. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this person love me until they do, right? Until they do. And then everything I did, right? Everything I did, the things they fell in love with, I'm going to change all of them. I'm not going an extra half mile out of my way to get whatever. I mean, that sucks, right? right? Martha, I don't reach out to them, love. I don't reach out to any of these women. I'm not trying to push any boundaries by communicating with anyone from my past. I assure you. Not trying to reach out. Not so, but I'll listen to the advice. But as far as it being too soon, let's see. The last person that I did have, the first girl that I ever dated in my life. I have not spoken to her in 3 years. 3 years ago, while the two of us, you figure the first person you ever fell in love with, right? I mean, this is a long time ago. How much water under the bridge could there be? And we got along fantastic. We really did. And it was fun because there was so much that we shared from our past. And then one day they said, did you think for a second I would take advice from a two-time loser texting me from a halfway house? Which was a bit of a kick in the stomach, considering that this person was helping me, formulate the concepts for a program where a three-time loser, they assumed a two-time loser, was going to be doing just that, coming and trying to talk to people about addiction and things of that nature. But that was the first person I ever dated. And they recently reached out through an intermediary to say, boy, you're no better off than you were in high school. I'm not exactly sure what the hell I did to bring that on. I haven't spoken to this person in 3 years, right? But I don't know. I really don't. I do know this, right? I do know that not once in my life did I ever at year one act like I did at the 14th day of being in love, right? You go, nobody does that. Oh, I know someone that did. I swear to you, I know someone that did. I know someone that rocked that crap to the grave. No joke. Person grew to old age writing poems to the person that he loved his entire life, holding hands, saying I love you, stopping on the way home to get that little extra something, or buying one red rose or whatever it is. You say, I've got a person, we used to get along fantastic, but we don't get along like that now. To be really honest now, that person just kind of sucks. Yeah. Right? Treat them the way they treated you for the first 14 days. Treat them the way you treated them when you met them and see what happens. You want to see somebody back up? You want to see somebody become what they used to be? Treat them the way you used to treat them. Nobody does that. Sadly, we're not built that way. While we're trying to love and while we're trying to do all of these really beautiful things, life is going on around us, right? And sometimes that's really difficult stuff. You know what? I'm trying to. I'm sorry, people. I'm having really serious problems currently with this internet. If you could be patient with me, people, for those that know me, if you're familiar with the BRB, that would be the big red button, right? That is how you turn on a computer. I found that button about an hour and 15 minutes ago. Trying to make anything else work. Yeah, I simply can't. Hey, you know what? Vape, I can't find your last comment, brother. I love you. I can't find your last comment to save my life. In fact, I'll be really honest at this point. I can't even get the right side of my computer to work. I apologize. I love you, Vape. I really do. See, look at this. Stan Lee wrote a little poem for his wife every day. They knew her until the day that he died. And if we're talking about the Stan Lee that of the Marvel comics fame, it isn't like the dude died at 40, right? Then he lived to like 186 or something. He was wicked old when he bought the bullet. Like that dude was a really, really old cat. He had a very, very long life. That's beautiful. Thank you, Frank. Yeah, I mean, we all do this, right? We all stop treating the person that we marry, or the person that we end up with, or the person that we fall in love with. We stop treating them the way that we sold them. Honestly, it's pretty bad advertising, isn't it? But I did it, right? It's like a car salesman. Come by and check this out. What is it? Well, it's a late model Mercedes Benz. You're going to love it. Test drive this thing. It's perfect. You get that smell on the inside, brand new car smell. Eventually, you're going to come back and you're going to get that car from the Seinfeld episode, right? And it's just got the smell you can't get out of it. And it might look like the Beamer that you test drove, but when you get up on it, you're going to find that it's a little messed up, right? It's got this thing it does in the back. Oh, vape. Swiss Vapor says, I cleaned up the office and found hidden booze all over. 2 liters a gallon with beers. Unbelievable how I lied. Vape. If you've never heard the interview that I did with Swiss Vapor, first of all, the amount of alcohol he consumed on a daily basis, I'm shocked that you hit it. I mean, honestly, you would need a closet to hide a day's worth of the booze that he consumed in a daily period of time. It was terrifying. Russ, that's pretty funny. Russ says that would save me a lot of money on roses whenever I got in trouble. My brother and I had a friend. We'll call him Chris. And Chris used to drink a lot. And we were young. So this was back when people who drank a lot were still funny, right? You didn't understand that people who drank every day had a problem. They were just funny back then. But he would get in trouble, and he would get our neighbors angry at him. He would come in really drunk at like 4 a.m. and try to put the house key in the wrong door. Right? We lived in an apartment complex, and our neighbors just hated him. And his go-to answer for everything was, "Let's buy him a house plant." Like he was thoroughly convinced that no matter what you did to anger a person, if you bought him a house plant, you were pretty much, you were set. And I remember going in once to yell at him at about 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. or whatever, as the sun was coming through the windows, and the neighbor had just told me what he had done the night before. I was like, dude, you couldn't get your key in the door last night, so you knocked for like 10 minutes before anyone answered. He's like, yeah, well, sorry. I was like, yeah, but you knocked next door, right? The next door neighbor was the woman that, and then the next door neighbor was so angry. She was like, "You live across the hall." And when she started banging on the door to yell at me, she turned the door knob. The door was open, and she pushed my roommate inside. Why do my likes say 2K? Oh, needless to say, he had to buy her a house plan. Why do your likes say 2K? Do you have any idea what that means?
They're seeing something confusing for something else.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. But everybody should like me at least 2,000 times. Hit that like button. 2K. Hear that? See that? YouTubing it, people. My YouTuber. Did you see that? Hit the like. What's the other one? Hit the
Like, comment, subscribe.
hit like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. That way, whenever I go live, I'll be annoying in your living room. So honestly, where I'm at now. Now I'm thrice bitten, 500 times shy. The last wife that I was with, the last woman that I was married to, the attorney. There's no reason on God's green earth the two of us can't be friends. Honestly, it's sad that the two of us can't be friends. She was a hell of a lot of fun, and I didn't cheat. It's not, I wasn't. I did drugs. I mean, I understand, but she was doing drugs too. I screwed it up, and I think a lot of times people hate me because the potential was there for something fantastic, And maybe they never get over that. I don't know. Right. And you're saying your love life is like a White Snake video starring Tawny Katan. Geez, I don't know how I said that, but that would be great. Boy, would that be great. Tawny Katan in a White Snake video was such an epic part of my youth that I wept when Tawny Katan passed. Seriously, the day that news was announced, I know that there are other guys listening to me who are going to be like, yeah, I shed a tear that day. I don't mean that, it was, but I absolutely teared up when I found out that Tawny Katan had passed. It was, I don't know. Farrah Fawcett had the same effect on me. She was just one of those, when your brain comes online as a little boy and you get to a point where you're like, hey, there's something about this girl thing that's kind of cool. That was, that for me had a great deal to do with her. And her passing was hard. There you go, Debbie. There's some interesting concepts. Debbie says, hi, falling in love with the potential. Crash and burn. Interesting. Yeah, there's definitely a few people that fell in love with the potential of what. Yeah, there's something to that. Sadly, I sat down once with somebody, honest to God, right before a wedding, and said, "This is the idiot I'm going to be." Right? Sadly, this is probably the idiot I'm going to be in 20 years or 30 years. Right? I'd love to tell you that I'm a work in progress, but this is probably the idiot I'm going to be. And the person said, I'm marrying you, hoping you remain this idiot. Unfortunately, that sounds great, but it's never really the truth. It sounds great. Then they get to know you and spend really a lot of time and they go, oh, there's just so much about this cat that needs to be changed. And I think that probably has something to do with it. Sadly, the people that I used to be married to, the people that I used to date, if they had a list of all the crap that they would have liked fixed, I probably have already fixed it. For real. That might be really annoying too, though. If you think about it, be like, that SOB fixed everything on that list after I got rid of them. You have got a lot of self-awareness. Aside from journaling, did you go through any therapy? And did you get a diagnosis? I went through a lot of therapy. I continue to go through a lot of therapy. I am a huge fan and proponent of professionals helping you peel the onion if at all possible, right? While I was incarcerated, I had the added benefit of there being an entire group of people who were very willing to sit down and talk to people about mental health. If you were willing to sit down and talk to them, because most were not. So usually there was a surplus of people who were, ready, willing, and able to talk to you. It's not like it was difficult to schedule that kind of a thing. I'll give them credit for that. I badmouth where badmouth is due. I think that the psychology departments in the federal system were fine. Truthfully, I didn't go anywhere in the federal system where I felt like I was treated poorly by the people who worked in mental health. Sometimes the scheduling sucked, right? Sometimes they were really bad at getting really simple things right. But the people you sat down with and your availability to actually sit down and ask for help, I thought was impressive. The medical side of it was so god awful that no one believes me when I tell them how bad it was. When we were in the special management unit, you're locked down 24 hours a day. So when you start crying about seeing a doctor, I mean, they're not pulling you out of a cell that you're locked down in 24 hours a day to go take you to a doctor. I mean, it might happen once a year, but if you're a guy that needs to go a couple of times a month because something's wrong with you, it's not ever going to happen. You will see a dentist, if you're lucky, once in the 18 months that you're in that program. If you're lucky. And the only way to make that happen is to have put in for a teeth cleaning, which is the hustle. You got to put in for a teeth cleaning. And when that your number comes up for that, you get called to the dentist. And then that day you say, oh, look, I got a lot going wrong that hurts so bad I'm going to die if you don't fix it. And they can get you back the following day. That's usually the hustle, right? But you can wait with a toothache for 7 months. I've done it. And when you get in there, they say, oh, yeah, if I know it's an emergency, we don't do emergency fillings. It's not something we can do. We do emergency extractions. You want me to pull your healthy tooth? And you go, yeah, I do. I mean, it's got a damn cavity in it that hurts so bad that yes, go ahead, yank it. Pull it. And there are guys that, will get over the course of a 15-year sentence, 15 teeth pulled because they can't get a damn filling in one of them, which is pretty sad. Nancy, I get this. And I'm not saying it's healthy, by the way, people. When I say I get it, I'm not high-fiving anybody. I'm not giving you the fist bump. I'm not saying, way to go. That's the way to live. I'm saying, I get it. I understand. Because I gave up on love after my son's father thankfully left after 10 years. I just have never been able to trust enough to even try. Tons of therapy. Just can't go there again. That's the reality for a lot of people on planet Earth. And that may be the reality until the very end. I hope that that's not the case. I really do. I will hope and I will pray that that's not the case. I mean that because that is an absolutely, that's not something I want anybody to befall on earth, right? It's not a happy place to be. Chili Mancer, good to see you. But I get it. I don't have any desire to really give it a try again. However, if I think you can live a very comfortable life, I think you can live a happy life, and you can live it without a mate in your life. If, however, not having a mate in your life means I'm going to separate myself from the rest of humanity, you're going to be miserable. Connection is essential. It is essential, right? It is literally as important to you as food, shelter, water. I'm not kidding. It doesn't have to be, boy meets girl meets girl, but boy meets boy, whatever. It doesn't have to be that kind of connection. But if it's not, right? If that part of if that connection is not in your life, then I think that a lot of other kinds of connections need to be beefed up. Humble opinion, written by a guy, right, whose claim to fame was bank robbery. So take that with Liz Ferris. Good to see you, Liz. Liz is going live after this. Awesome. So if you all know how to get over to Liz Ferris's channel, we can just do the I can do the handoff. How often have failed relationships started off with trauma bonding? That's a great question. If you mean relationships with me, I do not. I don't normally have relationships with people like myself. So in my time, it's going to sound just absolutely bizarre, but during the height of my addiction, I did not want to be anywhere within 100 miles of somebody that did drugs, right? I would have had to somehow help supply those, right? And I had to come up with $700 a day to take care of my arm. The idea of feeding someone else's seemed like a really bad idea. And to be really honest, I wanted somebody that made enough money that was never going to be an issue. And I didn't mean that I wanted to rip them off, although I almost always did eventually. What I meant was I didn't want them asking me for money. I didn't want them to say, "Hey, can you fill up the tank on the way to work today for me?" No, I can't. I got $700. Got to come up with today. Get it in the left arm, right? Preferably by about noon. So I got a big day of stealing ahead of me. And stopping to get gas is not only counterproductive, but whatever money you think I got, I actually, just put in my arm. Debbie, I would say in general, it happens constantly. It happens constantly. But your last question was just so good and felt like it was mine. I assumed the next one was. See that? I was doing this with Debbie. We're a peer support group. I fell into the instant therapy pose. Right? Oh, God. How does that make me feel? Sorry, I get a kick out of it. I met my second husband in rehab. We lasted 15 years, which was astounding. That's impressive as hell. I'm not going to lie to you. My first wife met her first wife in rehab, and I think it lasted 4 years. But yeah, I have been of the firm belief through the course of my life. They say, how long do you have to be sober before you can get into a relationship? How long do you have to have been working on yourself before you can work on someone else and be having someone else in your life? How long does that have to be? And my answer is always, how in the hell would I know? Right? I mean, honestly. And by the way, anyone that answers that question with any kind of authority, I'd be scared of them because I don't know how the hell you answer that question, right? I can tell you how long I need to be sober before I'm okay for a relationship. I'm 8 years out, and I don't know. I don't know if that's long enough for me, right? You might be 5 weeks sober. You're 5 weeks sober, and my 8 years sober don't have a whole lot to do with each other. I mean, they got a ton to do with each other, right? In that I promise you it makes us a brother or a sister, and it literally makes me love you, right? I love anybody that's fighting. I really do. Anybody that's fighting addiction, you've got my love and respect. If you're trying to say no to a substance that's got a hold of you, you got my love. You got my respect. I'm not going to give you advice about things that I shouldn't be giving you advice about and that you shouldn't be taking advice from me about. You want to talk to me about heroin? I can tell you more about heroin and what it does to you than just about anybody you ever want to meet. I don't care how many doctors did how many studies on it. I put a lot in my body in every single conceivable way that you can do it, right? Every conceivable kind of it, and broke every law to get it. The number of I can't tell a story for 30 years that doesn't start, if I'm being honest. All right, so I'm high on heroin. Right? Every story for 3 decades, whatever goes from that point forward is, and on top of that, Trish, six and a half years sober. Tisha, good for you. Good for you. So happy to be here. Great topic. Been alone the last 17 years since my husband died. I'm sorry for your loss. Too much energy to go through it again. I'm older, set in my ways, and happy with my cats and dogs. 6.5 years sober. That is fantastic. That really is. 6.5 years is awesome. I see people. That you want to hear something just stupid, you can get a good laugh, right? Take it any way you want. I believe in the concept of a soulmate. I really do. And sometimes, you marry yours and they pass away. And that's a really rugged thing. It really is. It's a really, really rugged thing. And then sometimes, you think you found the person that's your soulmate. And then you come home from a business trip. Oh, where is Shelton? Shelton, where are you? Then you come home from a business trip and this dude jumps out of your closet like a magic trick. Come on, get that reference.
Such a good one.
Such a good reference.
For the record, I got it.
You know what? Shire Kitty says, I believe there are many, many soulmates. You mean per individual? I've heard other people say this theory. I've heard other people say that. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. That's a cool comment. Yadira says, hit the like, y'all. Love from Puerto Rico. Tommy, we are thankful for you and your channel. Your vast experience. Help many people. Thanks. That is why we support this community. This is real empathy. You know what? I really do. One summer, I was supposed to get married to a woman named Susan. She was nice. Unfortunately, she passed away from linking too many cheap envelopes while mailing out invitations. That is tough. But honestly, when you're buying invitations, right? Don't you at least get the mid-grade? Don't you at least get the mid-grade? Who buys the cheapest? Paper stock, gum, all that. I mean, you were looking for that. You were looking for that to happen. Luke Wilson was so funny with that scene. Memorable wedding toast for sure. You know what? Booyah. Amy for the win. Amy for the win. Thank you, Amy. It really is. And I'll tell you what, I think the scene stealer in the wedding toast though was the same. I think what my friend's trying to say here is that love is blind. Sorry, I'm not a speaker. Not a speaker. The day that film came out, I'm not kidding you, right? The day that film, and I don't mean came out in the movie theater because I just was too much of I was not a guy that went to a lot of movies, right? I certainly watched a crap load of movies, but I wasn't going to movie theaters at that juncture of my life, right? So my brother and I, as we did a lot back then, if we saw something that came out and it was worth seeing, we would fire back and forth at one another quickly, right? Hey, you got to see this movie. Tommy Boy was one of those films. He called me. He was like, you have got to see Tommy Boy. He said to me, you got to see Old School. And Old School was one of those films that the trailer for the movie was dog crap. Whoever made the trailer did such a bad job that I didn't want to see the movie. I'm not kidding. Like, I remembered the trailer. So when he started describing it to me, I'm like, I don't want to see this movie, bro. And he's like, no, you don't understand. This is you, dude. You're going to love this movie. And I'm like, yeah, I just don't really. And what got me is he said to me, I swear to you, I remember like it was yesterday. He said to me, all you got to do is watch the opening scene. He said, it's my wedding, my first wedding. He said, there's so much about this wedding that you're going to go, oh, there's no way. People, I would not feel comfortable even if none of you were here. I don't want to tell the story of my brother's first wedding because of how embarrassed I was.
We're not going to.
Lara FM says, broke from a manipulative, toxic relationship just over a year ago now. I'll pause there and say, good for you. God bless. I mean that. Good for you. Wondering if my soulmate is stuck in the Sea Org. Just my luck. Well, here's the good news. Just in case, Laura, that your soulmate is stuck in the Sea Org, I have a firm belief that it's just a matter of time before they storm the Sea Org and start freeing people en masse. I believe in the power. I believe that the most powerful weapon on planet Earth, I swear to God, I believe that the most powerful weapon on planet Earth is right here. For real. This puppy right here is going to bring down the Church of Scientology. No lie. This little thing right here is going to kill that cult. And it's going to, or if it survives, it will have to revamp itself into something that the rest of society can find palpable, because society now knows what Laura has known her entire life. You go to a rally, you're going to hear Laura, and you're going to hear her from a quarter of a mile away, with or without her bullhorn, because Laura is the most passionate person you'll ever meet, because she lived it, right? Like I'm there on a I'm there on a visitor's pass, but I'm in her town, and this is where they grew up and lived, and it was so heartwarming to me to watch every single damn car that went by, and I'm not exaggerating. There was not a car that went by that didn't support that rally. The last one that we were at, there was not one car, and people that would come by and then run off and grab a couple of cases of water and come back and drop them off, and the sun went down, and Laura was still out there fighting that monster. Something almost I was gonna say Quixote like, but that's because I can't remember the damn author's name. Come on, help me. This is Devantis. Who wrote Man of La Mancha? Somebody. Okay. That's all right. There's no chance. This is, you know what? This is really an excellent, yes. Laura FM's passion and energy is
book by Dale Watson.
unparalleled. Really?
Man of La Mancha, the book is by Dale Watson.
Maybe I'm thinking of the I don't know, because I'm not even in the ballpark. Cervantes, says Martha Simmons. Yeah, I think you might be right. I could be. Yeah, if we could somehow figure out how to harness Lara FM, the power in Lara, we could stop with the solar and the wind and all of that. I believe that. Don Quixote, there you go. Thank you. Don Quixote. I'm sorry, I really did a bad job on that. You are correct, because Man of La Mancha, which is what I told you, was the musical that was written on it, and you got me exactly. Cervantes wrote the book. He wrote the musical. I didn't say the correct name of the book, which would have helped quite a bit. Thank you all. You are fantastic. Almost all of you. No, I'm kidding. Well, I don't think your soulmate's in the Sea Org, but if he is, we're going to spurn him. So hang tight. Mind Candy. It's a great damn name. I remember in prison when they brought in the Soul Candy earbuds for the first time, and like normally you bought earbuds from a company called China, right? Like the earbuds were called China earbud. I'm not kidding. It just said China earbud, right? And with a cord on it. Everything's got a cord. And then the Skull Candy ones came in, and we were like, oh, right? Everybody had to go and I'm sorry. To dream the impossible dream, and surely that is the impossible dream. Shire Kitty, that's a lovely thing to say. I don't know that there's any truth to that, but it is a damn lovely thing to say. I mean that. Listen. I'm never putting any of these up, right? Let me tell you why I do this. If everyone's going, boy, Tommy's an egomaniac. No, because I'll read something, right? And then or I'll say something. So I read what she wrote and I say, okay, I appreciate the heck out of it. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I appreciate that. Then I move on. Then I get 30 emails from people who watch this on the replay, because not even like 7% or 10% or whatever of the people who see these videos see them live, right? So if I comment on someone's comment, I kind of got to put it up there, even if so I gotta be smarter about what I read. My brother Johnny tells me that, like, he's like, read the comment, bro, before you read the comment. But he's been doing it 7 years. I might get better at it someday. I mean, I'm getting better at this whole YouTubing thing. Well, I'm not. But I could be. Anybody? That's a good one. That's a good one. I saw 3 really weird deep looks. I got to see what Deeming said. It must be something funny. I got to put this up. Deeming says, love is blind sometimes. My ex would coordinate outfits with his mom on special occasions. First of all, that's true. You know that, right? That's true. Is there a doubt in your mind that that's true? And do you know why? Because there's nobody on earth that could make that up. Honest to God, I want to meet the person who could make that up, right? There's no way that's not true. But that's one of the most unbelievable things, right? I've put a lot of comments up in my time, but that is just absolutely amazing. Deeming, I'm my heart goes out to you, and I am super impressed that you're a saint. I think that's painfully obvious. You are a saint. Oh, God bless you. How special an occasion that had to be. By the way, all of the expressions on everyone's emoji was so perfect, right? Because every emoji had this face, this number. What the hell did you just say emoji? Like everybody was rocking that one. And that was, I'm sorry, for the time, the perfect emoji. Shire Kitty, you know what? I'm of the firm belief. And I really honestly believe that I might be right on this one. So, but you can take this for what it is. But I think I might be right on this one. The truth of the matter is, I am of the firm belief that the only people that get healed heal themselves. Q saved my life. No, there's no 2 ways about it. He saved my life, but I did it. I did all the heavy lifting. I just could not have done it without him. And I think that's the lifeboat. The people that come here that want to get sober, they get sober. They do. And they get a lot of help from a lot of people here because everybody here is pulling in the same direction. There's nobody here that is thinking to themselves, boy, I hope that person fails and gets high, right? Because if you're that ass, we're going to find you pretty quick and you're going to be gone. I'm into the ritual of lighter to cigarette. I know, bad excuse. Valerie, I get ritual. But babe, get you a vape and just hold a lighter up. Like get a dead Bic, right? Get you a dead Bic lighter and a vape and put that vape up there and then just dead Bic the end of that thing. And I'm not the guy, but I'm making you a promise. Lighting something on fire and breathing the smoke in is a bad thing. If you gotta have nicotine today, there's a better delivery system. There are so many better delivery systems. Go buy those little pouch things or whatever, and then work out your ritual. And I'm only saying it, hun, because I want you around forever, Valerie. You're so much fun to have on the boat. You know the reason I'm saying that. My ex-girlfriend was a nudist. She liked to walk around the apartment with no clothing on. You think that would be great, but after watching her open a jar of pickles, I couldn't do it anymore.
Tell you something? That episode never made any sense to me, and I think it's ridiculous.
It's not a great
premise to the entire episode sucks.
You hear that? You heard it. You heard it, Jeremy. You have raised the ire of Tommy Scoville, and you've done it.
Made no sense from Jump Street.
And you've done it. at only 20 after the hour. And I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming when I read the quote, because you and I have had this discussion before. This is not my brother's favorite episode. Bruce says, I give all I am to my love interest. They always show their true colors. I'm going to end with this one, truthfully and honestly. With all of the people that I've been with, I can look back on every single person and pretty much say, I can understand why that person wouldn't want to talk to me. Right? If lying is a basis of the relationship that you have with somebody, you don't get over that. If you don't know that now, learn it. Because it is so hard to get over someone lying to you when you don't believe that someone tells you the truth. There's no basis to build from, right? The basic building block is, if you don't BS me, we can get through anything, right? If you really do love somebody, we can get through anything. Just don't lie to me. Once you feel like you've been lied to, it's almost impossible, right? And I'm not saying it's impossible, because there are people that have been able to build it back. But the sad thing to me is that there is one out there I never lied to. And that person still isn't my friend either. So no telling. No telling, no telling. The cat, she was probably here at work this morning waiting on me, but the internet. Anyway, nicotine patches do work. Got one on right now, says Hilda. Funny you say that. I'm wearing a Nicoderm sleeveless sweater underneath this as we speak.
Classic.
Just kidding. Always been
Great.
one of my favorites though.
Wow.
You like the smoker's patch? I'm wearing the Nicoderm sleeveless sweater. Oh,
Yeah, the last thing. Is that great?
It's a good one. There are some people who believe their own BS. There are.
Oh, I know them.
Yeah. I knew it really well for a really long time. And from Massachusetts says, I smoked for over 20 years and my husband convinced me to switch to vaping. I make my own juice and I control the nicotine content. Way cheaper and way better for you. Easier on the body, to be sure. All right, everybody. That is the news. I am out of here. All right. I'm Captain Tommy. We'll see you on the next one. All right. Just another day in paradise.